Bonnyville Cold Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm deeply honored to be able to rise today and address the Legislative Assembly for the first time today in response to the speech from the throne and delivered by Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor. Before I begin, I would like to extend my sincerest thanks to the Honourable Lois Mitchell for her work as our Queen's representative in Alberta. This is clearly a new era for our province in more than one way. This is an exciting time, Mr. Speaker, and I'm thrilled to play a part in it. And now, I would like to say a few words about why I'm here in the first place. Bonnyville Cold Lake has been represented as its own distinct constituency since 1997, when it was originally established. Mr. Speaker, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you today the constituents of Bonnyville Cold Lake who have graced me with the privilege of being their voice in this Assembly. The riding encompasses a geographical area of well over 7,000 kilometers, and we have a very large collection of communities who call this home of about 35,000 Albertans, and that means about 10,000 households. The communities are the MD of Bonnyville, the City of Cold Lake, the Town of Bonnyville, the Village of Glendon, the Elizabeth Settlement, Fishing Lake Settlement, Cold Lake First Nations, Frog Lake First Nations, Cahiwan Cree Nation. I do not take the responsibility of representing my community members lightly, Mr. Speaker. In a number of ways, Bonnyville Cold Lake encompasses much that makes Alberta unique. As a largely rural community, it retains the foundations of our province's initial success. The oil and gas industries are by far the largest employers in our communities. And, Mr. Speaker, they are a key component to the province's economic backbone. In fact, the oil and gas industry alone provides for the livelihoods of over 17% of Albertans in Bonnyville Cold Lake. And it actually is one of the richest oil-producing regions of all of Canada, Mr. Speaker. As such, it is an industry near and dear to our hearts, as well as to all Albertans who prosper as a result. We are proud of the role the residents of our communities have played and will continue to play in the tradition of Alberta economic independence. And this tradition of hard work and community building goes back a long way, Mr. Speaker. Long before Bonnyville Cold Lake came into its own and as a presence in 1997, the people of this area were hard at work building the communities and contributing to Alberta's future. And these people are proud and diverse groups. We have a significant Francophone community as well, complete with 2 French-speaking schools, as well as several French immersion schools, which, proudly I will announce, that my 2 daughters, Amelia and Charlotte, both attend. Many honourable members may also be aware of the strong Ukrainian presence in Bonnyville Cold Lake area as well. In fact, we boast the world's largest pierogi in the town of Glendon. I recommend it. I recommend going to see it. Throughout the riding, we have a strong, proud Indigenous and Métis presence. These communities have always made me feel welcome at any event that I've attended. This shows the compassion that flows through the Indigenous communities, and I am very thankful for all of the outreach they have done to me to date. You also might know that we are the host to a major military base, which plays an integral part in our community. The base brings real stability to Bonnyville Cold Lake through these hard economic times. It also puts our great constituency on the map as the ambassador of the province to the rest of the country and ultimately to the rest of the world. I need to also recognize the veterans within my riding. We have the veterans volunteering, and through their community spirit that they bring, we have a stronger community because of it. Throughout my riding, these veterans hold my greatest respect for the contributions they have made to Canada and our province and the municipalities that are all within my riding. We as residents also take a great deal of pride in our responsibility as we as residents take a great deal of pride in our responsibility of representing the province and the contributions at Alberta's development. We aren't just oil and gas. When people hear Cold Lake, they hear oil and gas, and that is true. We do have a very large oil and gas base, but we also have an agriculture base. The agriculture base adds to our rich, diverse heritage. Cold Lake encompasses so much that makes Alberta unique and competitive. When you talk about my riding, though, to ignore our farms and ranches would be a mistake. These are hard-working men, women, and children who feed us. And many of Albertans and Canadians have forgotten that the food that is on their table isn't actually grown in the supermarket. I have dedicated local farmers and ranchers who take the time to go out to our local schools and teach our local children the values of farms that farms have in Alberta. And that makes me proud. We, as constituents of Bonnyville-Cold Lake, understand that diversity in our riding is paramount. Mr. Speaker, it is truly humbling privilege to be entrusted to represent all of the communities within my riding. However, I do need to credit all of the retired MLAs from Bonnyville constituency who have worked hard for moving my constituency forward through the difficult times before. I'd like to name a few because I think it's important that we don't forget these important MLAs that have represented us in the past. Retired member Genialescu, who is known for her work within the Ukrainian community and with the senior citizens within our community. Retired member Dennis Ducharme, who is known for his work to create opportunity within the business community and served as the Minister of Community Development. Retired member Leo Vasseur, who brought change to our community and brought a new direction. He is a well-respected businessman still in the town of Bonnyville. Retired member Ernie Isley. He served as the Minister of Manpower, the Minister of Public Works, the Minister of Public Works and Supply and Services, the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, and the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Development. It is an honor to be following such great men and women. And I would like to actually bring forward a statement that the past member Ernie Isley had spoken in his original Maiden speech on May the 28th, 1973. Sorry, I correct that, 1979, page 39. Mr. Speaker, over the years, governments have probably earned the reputation of being reactors as opposed to actors. I think we're now in a situation where we can reverse that conception. This means that all departments of our provincial government must be prepared to play a real leadership in conjunction with local governments in making the growth of Cold Lake area a positive success story. This government needs to consider the wisdom of retired members. They need to go through what has happened in the past and see what has gone wrong. The wisdom of retired member Ernie Isley is brought through by the fact that we need to stop acting and we need to start working towards bringing jobs to the Bonnyville-Cold Lake constituency. I wish I had more time to list all of the extensive successes of past members, but unfortunately, we'd be here for the rest of the evening. We've had some really great MLAs in Bonnyville-Cold Lake that have shaped the future of Alberta, shaped the future of Bonnyville-Cold Lake. The responsibility the constituents have granted me, I do not take lightly. And I can assure you, I have men and women before me who are good examples to strive towards. We do have our own struggles that I am sure the past MLAs have navigated through. We have seen a large migration out of Bonnyville-Cold Lake, which has brought a very large inventory of houses on the market, which is starting to show in lower house prices. The fact is that people are moving away to feed their families. How do we prevent this? Because we are proud Albertans, and we've forgotten that we have gone through these before, but it's worse. It's worse than it's ever been. And we can blame the price of oil, but it's not the price of oil solely that is responsible for what we are going through right now. It is the instability that this government has brought through the legislation in the past, well, almost year. My conversations with local businessmen and women across the riding have shown that we have about a 25 to 40% job loss rate happening in Bonnyville-Cold Lake right now. And that is across all industries. Restaurants, that's insurance, that is almost everything that's happening in my riding right now. This is insane. I have people hurting. Their voices need to be heard. It hurts me to see people that have lived in the riding for 10, 20, and 30 years moving away to get more jobs in either BC or Saskatchewan. I understand that their need to find work outside the riding is important to show that we are still able to provide. We can't. They're looking to us for direction as the MLAs, and we are showing repeatedly that there is no direction that we are going to help my riding. We're also seeing this in my opinion, across Alberta. Now, we have seen the fact that the government has tried. And I will give them credit. They have brought out some legislation that is meant to be job-friendly. The question is, let's start with the fact that we have the job creation grant that came out. I have no businesses in Bonnyville-Cold Lake that are hiring new hires right now. It is a shame to see that these grants were never targeted to where the worst layoffs are happening. We've also seen that the announcement of the carbon tax is also affecting our local business community. The fact is that right now they can barely keep ends meet. We hear a premier today state that really businesses are rich. They're just holding on, trying to get through this. And just to state that a 1% decrease in the corporate tax rate is something that our government can't help our small business community through is preposterous. The fact that we have more expenses coming on our local business community in this time frame through that carbon tax